Hey everyone, this is Master of the Assassins talking, and I am here to do actually an update or a re-updated version of our last video. And this is made by assassins for assassins, so Templars beware, we will find you and you will die. First thing I'd like to say, guys, is I'm sorry for the last video. I have been under so much stress lately. I've just been so unfocused, and I've just haven't had the right material, and I've just been under a lot of stress, so please accept my sincerest apologies for the last video. But I'm doing much better, and we're going to do a better video this time, I promise. So this time instead, we're going to talk about the origin of the Assassin Order, and believe you me, guys, this time I'm going to do a lot better. To begin, the history of the Assassin Order is about as old since the beginning of time. Founders of the Assassin Order are actually the descendants of Adam and Eve, whereas the founder of the Templars was actually Cain himself. The Assassins have been around for a very long time. They're actually founded in was formed in prehistory. And there have been many different kinds of assassins who have killed great leaders and they did it so that they could free mankind, so that they wouldn't be under tyranny and would have the power to choose for themselves. Such assassins back in those days were Darius, who killed Xerxes, the king of Persia, Iltani, who poisoned Alexander the Great, Wei Yu, who was a Chinese assassin, Amunet, who was an Egyptian assassin who killed Cleopatra with an Egyptian asp, Leonis, who killed Roman emperors, and Guilingal, a Mongolian assassin whom I believe was supposed to kill Genghis Khan. I think that was taken over by Altair's son, Darum. Was it Seth? Either way, it was both of them. But the point of the Assassin Order is to fight for the free will of humanity, so that we may choose our own fate. And that each creed had these three simple codes. First, stay your blade from the flesh of an innocent. Second, hide in plain sight. Be one with the crowd. And 3, never compromise the Brotherhood. And as I had stated before, the Assassin Order had gained popularity and became known to the public within 1191, which was the same year that the Templars became public to everyone else. And this is a real thing, guys, but the original name for the Assassins was actually the Hashashin. And they were fighters and they fought for the Saracens, for the Saracen armies. But whereas in Assassin's Creed, and this one I think is really good, but they didn't take sides. They fought for the sides of humanity. And here's the thing, though. Most people assume that here's something to think about. I had recently run into an actual Knights Templar. A couple months ago, when me and my girlfriend were at the Renaissance Fair, I actually came across a gentleman. I think his name was Edmund or Edwin. Anyway, I knew for some weird reason he was a member of a holy order. Sure enough, I was actually right. He gave me his card, and it actually said Knights Templar. Now you have to kind of think, if Knights Templar exists, then who knows, maybe assassins. Back to my report. Another famous assassin besides Altair or Ezio that made a big impact on history was Marcus Junius Brutus, whom assassinated Gaius Julius Caesar. And Brutus had killed Caesar because he was becoming too powerful and was becoming a tyrant.
Lost.
And as I had stated in my last report, before dying, Caesar said, "Et tu, Brutus," means you too. If you guys know anything about Shakespeare, you will have heard this quote. The assassins were masters of disguise. They were also masters of killing their targets when least expected. But they were not cowards. They would fight their enemies out in the open. They would only hide so as to not draw attention. And the signature weapon of all assassins, past, present, and future, hidden blades. Back in those days, back in like 1191, most times the only way to actually get a hidden blade would be at the cost of losing your ring finger. But as soon as the Italian Renaissance came in, it had been modified. People could keep their fingers. And the assassins fight for freedom. Never forget that. They fight, and many famous assassins have taken on the titles as mentors or master assassins. Usually, though, the leader of the assassin order are called mentors. The last mentor was killed in the 2000, which was killed by Daniel Cross, whom I actually mentioned in my first report. But also the fact that the assassins themselves are still in hiding. We are still fighting against the Templars, only because as long as we stay and fight, humanity has a chance of survival. And the assassins themselves, I don't think I told you guys, but before Daniel Cross betrayed the assassins, the assassins had camps all across the world, and then instead of being in small squads like they are now, they were well organized. They had the same funds. They were just about as powerful as the Templars. But because of the death of the mentor, they were scattered. It was like attacking the brain of the assassin order. And with that, and with the death of the mentor, the only one to take up the position as de facto leader of the assassin order was William M. Miles, Desmond's father. And the assassins also have another thing that they do, and that's that they are adaptable to change. They're able to make any kind of disadvantage or any kind of problem and turn it to their advantage against the Templars. And here is a list of some of the most famous assassins in history. Marcus Junius Brutus, killer of Julius Caesar. Altair ibn Ahad, whom I'm sure everyone here is aware of, who has murdered tons of people in the name of the Creed. Ezio Auditore da Firenze, founder of the Italian Brotherhood, and is by far probably the most famous of all the assassins. Nikolai Orlov, who was a master assassin during the Russian Revolution of 1917. Daniel Cross, whom is up to you guys whether he is a Templar or an assassin by choice. And Desmond Miles, whom I'm sure everyone here is still very aware of. And the fact is that the Templars have allies everywhere. And these allies were people that some could have been assassins themselves.
30 seconds.
One of which was Vladimir Lenin, whom some people are still trying to debate whether he was an actual assassin. Vladimir Lenin was the man leading the Russian Revolution. But other Allies to the order were Leonardo da Vinci, Serena Sforza, Al Gore, Lorenzo de Medici, and then of course there's also Nikola Tesla, Suleiman, and several others. The point is the fact that the assassins had many friends. And there are several other things I'd like to go over, but that'll have to wait for my next report. Until now, nothing is true, everything is permitted. And also, please post down what you thought about this. Please write down a comment and tell us what you thought about this video. Until then, my friends, I will see you again. And remember, nothing is true, everything is permitted.